Welcome back, folks. Well, it's a rainy day here in North Florida. The high today was around 88 degrees when the sun was out. Today we're going to look at this beautiful pre-war, very large O-scale American Flyer steam engine, which has been customized a little bit and restored. It's set up to pull post-war Lionel trains because it has a post-war coupler on it. It was done by a friend of mine, now deceased, named Sim, who did beautiful work, and I'm so happy that I was able to acquire this from him. First, we're going to look at the tender. Now, this tender is metal, and it has pre-war trucks under it, but if you look closely, you can see that each of these six-wheel trucks consists of two four-wheel trucks joined together right there. So my friend ingeniously made a six-wheel truck out of two four-wheel trucks, and he was able to put the Lionel post-war, they used to call these conversion couplers on. It has this little lever to pop it open and everything. It's fully restored, brass trim. Let's compare it to this Lionel post-war tender. This is a very heavy tender too, but let's compare the size. This tender measures, we'll say, about 7.5 inches. This one measures over 8.5 inches. It has this nice little ladder feature in the back, the brass rails, the simulated hatches, the simulated coal load, the brass rails, and the drawbar. This pre-war Lionel has a similar drawbar. Nice little steps that are made out of metal top, handrails, and the simulated ladder in the back right here with this little piece that sticks up, and the box coupler with a whistle inside. So the American Flyer tender is quite a bit bigger than the Lionel tender. Now, this is a 226 large American Lionel 264. It's supposed to be a Hudson actually, but it's not a 464. And it measures from the cow catcher to the back, well, it's almost a foot. We'll say 11 3/4 inches. Now here's the American Flyer steam engine. From the cow catcher to the back, it measures about 1.5 inches. It's a very large locomotive with lots of wonderful features. For example, buried up in here is the stud for the drawbar. Up in here is a burnout light, which, if I could replace it without taking the locomotive apart, would be the simulated firebox light. It has nice valve gear simulated on it, spoked drive wheels, the center pickups. It too is a 264, just like the Lionel 226. I don't know what the trim was like on this engine before it was restored in terms of the lettering and the number. I have no idea what the number was. There's a little screw up here. There's a switch back here for the reverse. That must be a pop valve or something. A whistle, brass trim, a bell that hangs, little smokestack. Here is a copper surround or a brass surround over the headlight. it comes out so you can change the headlight, and it pops back in. This is for the front. This is the front hook. These would be the little simulated flag stanchions, but they won't hold a flag. It has the slots in the cow catcher. This is a beautiful locomotive, spur gear driven, as is this one. The Lionel has a die-cast rear truck. The box type drive wheels with a metal ring around them. Nice valve gear. Inserted number boards, 226 Lionel lines. Pop valves here. The whistle. A bell that once again will swing. This one has this little stack in front of the big one. This one doesn't. The marker lights. Marker lights here with little jewels on them on the flyer. Marker lights here with little jewels on them on the Lionel. This one has an opening smoke box front to get at the headlight. The flag stanchions, you actually could put a little flag here on these. The front cow catcher does not have the slots between the parts. Overall, these are both very, very nice locomotives. Highly recommended. However, I don't think you could do better than to get one of these beautiful American Flyer locomotives. If you don't mind pre-war technology, without the whistle, you could put a whistle in here, I guess. Without smoke, and I don't see how you could put smoke in there unless you put a smoke and tender thing with a pipe all the way to the front and figured out a way to drill out that or open up that stack. I don't think it'd be worth the effort. But it's really fun to run this locomotive pulling post-war trains. Well, we're ready to run the train now. My son was able to tighten the firebox bulb, which was good but loose, so now it lights up, so you'll be able to see that effect. Here goes. Now this locomotive will pull a very long train. However, I don't have a long train on this track for it to pull. Well, that concludes this look at this very large and beautiful pre-war American Flyer steam locomotive. Perhaps one of my viewers or subscribers can tell us what the number of the original locomotive would have been so that we can identify it. But if you come across one of these, I would get it. I would not hesitate to purchase this locomotive. It's a wonderful locomotive. Why spend top dollar on one made today when you get a jewel like this from the good old days?